channel and welcome to another financial reset video. This Friday is the last Friday of February. We have made it through the first 2 months of the year already, which is so crazy. So it's time to go over our budget from February and look at how we're going to be spending our money in March. But before we get into that, hi, if you're new here, my name is Brooke, and on my channel, I like to do personal finance videos and lifestyle videos. So if you like that kind of content, please make sure to subscribe. I would love to have you over here. So I made a candle at a friend's birthday party. She had like a witchy vibe birthday party, which I loved. And we made homemade candles. They got these little teacups and things from the thrift store. And we just melted some soy wax down. And then we made these cute little candles. So that is what I am using. It is not my drink. My beverage today is actually a sparkling water from Aldi. You know I love my sparkling waters from Aldi. But let's go ahead and look at how February went. Technically tomorrow, Saturday, is the last day. But I am just going to go over our numbers as they stand now. And there may be some numbers that change because we will probably be spending a little bit tomorrow. We have to go to the grocery store and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and hop on in to see how February went. I'll just give you a quick background on my finances. I am married and my husband and I do 100% combined finances. So all of these numbers are inclusive of both of our incomes and we both work full time. So in February, we brought in basically the amount of money that I usually plan for our expected income. And then my husband actually got his work bonus this month. So that was nice, but unfortunately, a lot of it did not go to fun stuff. If you watched my February financial reset video where I went over our February budget, I did talk about how we had to replace my car windshield. So thankfully we didn't have to pull out of our sinking funds because of this, but it's not fun when most of your bonus has to go for paying for that. But we did get to set aside some of that money into my husband's sinking fund because he wants to get a tattoo this year. So we're trying to save up money so he can go and get his tattoo. And then of course we had no rollover because we overspent last month and we did have a little bit of interest coming in from our high yield savings account. All right, so for bills, we were spot on here. There was nothing really out of the ordinary. Our water was a little bit lower, which I like. And our pest control, I always just round up to the nearest dollar, so that 14 cents is totally fine. Now, if we look at our expenses, our groceries, we're a little bit under, but again, tomorrow we are going grocery shopping. I will be out next week on a work trip, so we'll probably buy a little bit less groceries than usual, but I'm expecting this to be closer to like $600 at the end of the month. In gas and transportation, we're also quite a bit under here. However, I do want to go ahead and buy an oil filter and get the oil for my car so we can go ahead and get my oil change done. So this will go up a little bit as we pay for all of that. We are Christians and we do believe in giving. So we give to our church, we give to our local communities and other things like that. And I just block that out for privacy purposes. For therapy, we set aside $100 to go to any therapy needs that we have. For gyms and subs, we're still under here a little bit. And I think that's because Spotify has not come out yet. And also HP Instant Ink. Yeah, so I have to pay $1.92 each month to use my printer. That's so fun. I love it. And also Spotify is going up. So we're on the family plan because it's me, my husband, and my 2 sisters that are on the plan. And it is going up from, I think, like $19 a month to $21 a month, which, like, not too bad, not too crazy, but so crazy that Spotify keeps going up, especially because I just watched this really funny TikTok by this tech creator that I really like, and she was like making a joke about how Spotify is saying that their top engineers haven't wrote a line of code since December because they're using all the AI bots to write it. And I'm just like, why, if they're using all the AI bots and outsourcing the code work, why am I paying extra to be on Spotify? Whatever. In my spending, I was actually under a little bit, which was surprising, but my haircut was a little bit cheaper, so happy about that. My husband was also a little bit under, which is always good. And with this money, I don't roll that into our joint rollover For the next month, this will just stay in our personal spending, so we'll have a little bit extra in our personal spending. For guilt-free spending, we're also under here, which I am really proud of as well. We did do quite a few fun things this month because, you know, it was Valentine's Day. It was also my dad's birthday. We also had my other friend's birthday. So we had quite a bit of stuff that we were paying for, and we went to the archery range. So we had a lot of fun things that we were doing here. But being under by $60, I am not mad about. I am maybe potentially going to a book fair tomorrow, and I may buy something there. I don't know. I'm really just going to see if there's like fun stuff and like walk around with my friends from book club, but I don't know if I'm going to buy anything there. I will probably be tempted. I've already spent all of my guilt-free spending, so I will probably try not to, just so for this guilt-free spending, we can just have a little bit of buffer from last month because we definitely overspent last month. In miscellaneous, we had to pay for some parking here. In home, we didn't spend anything, and the only reason why I kept this category in here is because of last month. So I was like, maybe I should start like putting that in there and just kind of tracking it just for a little bit, but I didn't actually plan on us having anything in home, and we didn't have anything in home. And then this is where we cash flowed the Safe Flight people coming out to fix my car windshield. Like at first I thought, okay, it's not that bad. It's just a little chip. And then it expanded. And I think part of it was because it was so cold earlier on this month that the cold really like made it go crazy and the crack expanded. So yeah, I'm glad that we got it fixed, but I was also like kind of frustrated that I had a crack in the first place. Let's talk about our savings and sinking funds. So the way that I have it here is our top 3 categories: emergency fund, health and wellness, and our house fund are all considered our long-term savings. And then the rest of these are sinking funds. So if you don't know what a sinking fund is, it is just a category in your savings where you earmark the money for specific things so that when you go to buy that stuff, you don't have to worry about not having the money. So I like to do this. It's a way for me to not blow up my budget, but still be able to spend on the things that I like to spend on. We didn't put anything in our emergency fund because we are all good there. We are at a fully funded 6-month emergency fund. For our health and wellness, we're just putting aside $70 a month, and that's because we have high deductible healthcare plans and HSAs. And with our HSAs, we are trying to do the triple tax advantage strategy with that, which is where you put in money into your HSA and then you go ahead and you can invest that money inside of there. And then when you go to pay for qualified medical expenses, it's all tax-free. And if you let the investments grow, that is also tax-free growth. So lots of great things going on with the HSA. And because of that, we are paying for our medical expenses, prescriptions, and all that kind of stuff out of our own pockets. And then we are saving the receipts for different qualified medical expenses, and we can reimburse ourselves at any time. In our house fund, we set aside $4,200. This is because we want to move this year. We're trying to get to at least 10% down. And then hopefully when we sell this house, any of the money that we make from the proceeds of selling this house will also go towards the down payment, as well as any moving costs and closing costs and all that good stuff that comes with buying real estate. In our gift savings, we put aside $175. This is to cover birthday gifts, baby showers, that kind of stuff, any weddings that we go to. And then at the end of the year, anything that's left over in November, December time is what we use to buy Christmas gifts. Car maintenance, we put $300 in, and we actually had our car insurance come out this month as well. So I use this for both maintenance on our car and our car insurance sinking funds. We pay our car insurance every 6 months. We're with Progressive, and it was $783.20. For our vacations, we set aside $200, and this is just an ongoing vacation fund. Currently, we have a couple of vacations planned this year. I'm so excited for them. In May, we're going to go to Washington State. And then in August, we are going to go to the Grand Canyon. For the annual sub fees, this is for any of our subs that we pay annually. So we have Crunchyroll, we have Ring Insurance, we have AAA, all that kind of stuff. I just lump it into one annual sub fees. And then we spent $130, and this was actually for my husband's passport renewal, and I was just like, we can just pull that out of the annual sub fees because that is something that only happens in the US, if you renew your passport, it is good for 10 years. So we only have to pay that every 10 years. So I was like, that should come out of the annual sub fees. That's what it's for. Our fund, we put aside $100. So I'm just keeping this money in there. So if we see anything that we want to do that's fun, we can go ahead and have the money there. For our taxes, I set aside $110, and it's because we owe taxes to the state. We don't owe federal taxes. Right now, our tax bill is almost $300 for the state, and I'm not happy about paying any of that, but I'm putting aside extra money, so then when we go to pay our taxes, we'll have that. In extra giving, we set aside $100, and this is just to give extra and above and beyond what we already give. So for example, this month we gave $200, and I got that out of our extra giving. This is where we put my husband's extra work bonus money after we paid for my car to get fixed, and that was $510 that we had left over after that. And then in new tech, we put aside $100 each month for this. And I want to build this up a little bit so that when we move to our new house, we can kind of like figure out what we want to do in terms of our office. And I would really love to be better at cable management. And so any like that cable management kind of stuff that we would be doing, I would probably pull it out of this new tech fund. And then in terms of how much we spent about $1,000 out of our sinking funds. And most of this was to cover our 6-month car insurance. This $83.79 here, I put a little note here. So let me see if I can move myself so we can see the little note. What was this? Oh, this was the BTS light stick. So BTS launched version 4 of their light stick. So if you don't care about like K-pop or anything like that, please skip this part of the video. It's fine. I'll put a timestamp down below so you can skip this part. But anyway, so BTS launched their version 4 of their light stick. It's called like the Army Bomb. But the fun thing about light sticks at K-pop concerts is that they will connect to the concert that's going on, and so your lights will be in sync with everybody else in the arena. It's such a cool feeling. However, they announced their new version, and they're like, you must buy the new version in order for your light stick to be in sync at the new concerts. And we're going to the August 1st concert, so I was like, I gotta buy a light stick. I also don't have a BTS light stick, so this is my first BTS light stick. I do have my Tomorrow by Together light stick, but obviously you gotta have different light sticks for different groups. I went on the Weverse shop, which is like where you buy a lot of the K-pop stuff, and oh my gosh, when they announced that it was going to go on pre-sale, I went and I was on my computer. It was literally a Sunday night because they were launching it Monday morning Korea time at like 11 a.m. So that was 9 o'clock here. And I was like, I have to be on my laptop Sunday, 9 p.m. I got to get there. I got to go on this website and buy this light stick. And I went on there and I was like on the site. I had been logged into my account and everything like that. Made sure I had all of my credit card information in there, all that stuff. And when I went to refresh the page at 9 o'clock to see that I could buy the light stick, then the site crashed on me because it was too much traffic for the site. And I'm like, of course, I knew that was gonna be too much traffic. Like everybody and their brother in the whole world is trying to log on to this dang website at one time to buy these light sticks. And I literally refreshed the page so many times. I like tried to do it where I got on my phone and tried to do Apple Pay to see if that would help. And I got charged, but then they took the charge away because I didn't actually go through the whole process. Eventually I got through. It was literally 9:30 by the time that I was able to actually submit and get the light stick. And I'm like, this is crazy. That was kind of harder than getting the actual tickets. So I was like, what is this? So you know what? Weverse, work on that. Get bigger servers. Make sure that your site can handle that much traffic at one time, because that was insane. That was ridiculous. All right, now let's look at investing. This year, I wanted to simplify our investing goals because we want to move. And so our main goal is to max out both of our Roth IRAs. This year, the limit for Roth IRAs is $7,500, which is $625 a month. So we're just putting aside $625 each month into our Roth IRAs. For our debt, right now, the main debts that we are working on are my husband's student loans. And currently we are just paying the minimums plus a little bit extra to cover the accrued interest each month. So that is what this goes over. And then let's look at the cash flow summary over here. So with our cash flow summary for our bills, 12%, that's pretty average for us. That's great. Our expenses, even with having to get my windshield replaced, it was only about 21%. Our long-term savings was 32.6% of the pie. Our revolving funds, 13.3, and this is a little bit higher than usual because it accounts for putting in that extra money to my husband's sinking funds for his tattoo. For our investments, we are solidly at 9.5%, which I'm happy with right now as we are focusing on our other financial goals. For our debt, we are at 3.2%, and we spent 8.5% of our money that came out of our sinking fund. So that is what our cash flow summary looked like. We had a really great February. I'm really proud of us for not going over. Even with our unexpected car bill, we were really lucky that my husband's bonus came in this month. And I never think about my husband's bonuses like as money that I should, even like account for, because bonuses are something that you never know if it's going to happen. I don't want to be Clark Griswold from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where he just went ahead and paid for like the pool to be installed, and then he got a Jelly of the Month Club thing. So I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. Now in March, I am going to be going on my work trip, like I said, for the first week of March. So we'll probably be spending a little bit less. I should be getting a referral bonus from my work. So a lot of companies would do this, but if you refer someone to work at your company and they work there for a certain period of time, then you will get a referral bonus for getting them hired on. So I did that, and I think we're close to that time of her being with the company now. So hopefully I will get my referral bonus in March. I don't know. I'm not planning on that. In terms of our bills, they are all pretty much the same. In our expenses, we're keeping them the same from last month. $650 for groceries, $200 for gas and transportation. My husband's car also needs to get an oil change, and while I'm gone, he said that he was going to take both cars to get their oil changed. So that will come out of this fund. For our therapy, $100 for gyms and subs. I raised it to $91 to cover Spotify going up, whatever. $175 for each of us to go into our personal spending. For guilt-free spending, $550. And then for miscellaneous, we do a zero-based budget. So anything that we have left over, I just put in the miscellaneous. For our savings, we are keeping them pretty much the same. $70 to health and wellness, $4,200 to house fund, $175 gift savings, $250 car maintenance, $250 for vacations. I decided that our car maintenance fund needs to be a little bit bigger, and our vacation fund is sitting at over $1,000 right now. So I'm pretty happy with bringing that down a little bit. Annual sub fees keeping the same, $140, fund 100, taxes I'm doing $100. This should be enough to cover paying for the NC state taxes that we owe, and then also paying to file our taxes. So we use Free Tax USA. It is free to file your federal, but you do have to pay $14.99 per state. So this will also cover paying to file our state taxes. Extra Giving $100 and New Tech $100. So that puts our total savings at $5,485, very similar to last month's. Our investments are Roth IRAs, $625 each, no change there, and our debt, paying the minimums for each student loan because they're all under 6%. So like if we see here, this one's at 3.5, 4.8, and 4.05. So 4.8 is our largest one, but it has a very small balance, so it's not accruing a lot of interest. And my hope, and this is my dream plan, the money guys talk about this all the time, having your 3D glasses on, and my dream plan is when we go to sell our house, we get enough money to put 20% down on our house, 10% we're saving right now, plus 10% from our house sale, and then the rest of that money going to cover all of my husband's student loan debt, and then putting money aside into our house fund and a new car fund for my husband. His car is a 2013, I think, or 2012. So we're looking to probably upgrade his car in a few years, and I would like to pay cash for his car. I think that that's definitely very doable if we buy a reasonable used car. So that is what my hope is when it comes to my 3D dream plan for when we sell our house. And oh my gosh, guys, I've been talking for over 30 minutes. So Thank you all so much for watching my March financial reset. I can't believe it's already March. If you made it this far, comment down below Shamrock because I'm going to Dublin and it's also St. Patrick's Day next month. So put all of that in. Spring is coming. Spring is so near. As always, make sure to like and subscribe and I will see you all in another video. Bye y'all.